Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning right back in once again to Queen Amadad TV presents Beyond the Realm. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all. And listen, after this story, I'm going to be going live on my true crime channel at 8 o'clock. Now, for those of you that saw the TikTok video that I did about the serial killer who ate and killed children, right? Albert Hamilton Fish. I'm going to be doing a story about him on True Crime at 8 o'clock. So if you want to catch that, please make sure that you tune in. Okay? So let's get ready to get into it. And before I go, I think I'll just show you all a clip of the TikTok video. It's like 3 minutes. So just so you'll see what it's going to be about for those of you who don't know. In case you never heard of Albert Hamilton Fish, because he was quite notorious. And most people don't even know about him. So after we finish this story, I'll show you all the clips. So if you want to tune in for True Crime to hear the whole story at 8 o'clock, you can. All right? So let's get into it. Thank you all for tuning in. All right, let's get started. This is about the haunted history of Savannah, Georgia. Now, the 6 most haunted places in Savannah that you can actually visit. I'm going to tell you about some of those. And like I said, you can actually visit these places if you want to see for yourself. Okay? Now, Savannah is widely known as the most haunted city in America. You can walk into any historic building or cemetery in Savannah, and you just may catch a sight of a ghostly presence standing right behind you or even next to you. Whether you're a ghost hunter or just someone who loves ghost stories, you need to visit these Savannah spots to experience some of the paranormal activity. I don't know about that. Queen Shishi says, thank you, Queen, for all that you do. Thank you, beloved, for your kind words and your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Now, we're going to talk about, first and foremost, the Hamilton Turner Inn. Now, it was made famous by Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Now, if you all haven't seen that movie, it's really good. Okay, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. That was a really good movie. And it was based on a true story that actually happened in Savannah. And the Hamilton Turner Inn was featured in the movie, right? Now, paranormal activities inside the inn include the sounds of children laughing, running up and down the stairs, billiard balls rolling around on the upper floors, and sightings of a strange cigar-smoking man sitting on the roof. Another place that's really haunted in Savannah, this is the number 2 ranking place, right? It's called the Marshall House. Now, USA Today named the Marshall House one of the best haunted hotels in the United States. Since 1851, this hotel has been used as a hospital 3 times. One for Union soldiers and then twice for 19th century yellow fever epidemics. Now, guests have reportedly had their fair share of paranormal experiences, such as seeing ghosts in the hallways, on the stairs, hovering over them at night as they lay in their beds, hearing non-existent children running up and down the halls and stairs, faucets turning on by themselves, lights flickering, and things of that nature, and cold spots. And cold spots in a haunted place is always some type of nefarious, malevolent spirit. The number 3 place, and let me just share my screen so I can show you all what these places look like, because they look spooky enough, if you ask me. Okay? Let me share my screen. Everyone, please get the likes up. Okay, so this is the first place, the Hamilton Turner Inn, the one that I just talked about. And this is the Marshall House. Now, it looks like an insane asylum. If you all remember the story I did on the haunted mental asylum, Central State, it kind of reminds me of that. That's the Marshall House. Now, this is the third place, 1790. Now, as you can see, it looks like a fancy hotel, right? The ghost of a woman scorned, a slave cook, and a servant boy are said to bang around 1790 inn and restaurant, haunting guests and diners alike. While dining at the restaurant, you may hear the cook banging on pots in the kitchen or see a glimpse of a little servant boy. If you stay at the inn, you might spot Anna. That's one of the most famous ghost girls in the city who haunts the upstairs guest rooms, waiting for the return of her lost love. You can learn more about that in a video that they have. Let me see if they have the video on here. Hold on, people. This is it right here. Oops, my mistake. Hold on. I'm going to have to add the volume. We'll have to add the volume and then we'll go back to it. Hold on just a second. Oh, so creepy, right? And I'm glad they have these videos. I'm glad they have these videos so you can get an idea of what they look like and what people have actually said has happened when they have gone there. Okay, so let me share this again with the volume.
On the corner of President and Lincoln is a restaurant and hotel that for nearly 2 centuries has held people under its spell. At the historic 1790 Inn, they tell a tale of love and loss, a familiar tale that happens all too often when stars do cross. It's told that there was a barmaid or housemaid by the name of Anna who fell in love with a sailor who had docked here in Savannah. He promised her the moon, the stars, all the contents of the sky, and then he left abruptly without even saying a proper goodbye. She waited and pined before she waited some more. They say that she waited at the window of what is today room 204. And, as is often the case in stories of love that brings about strife, when Anna realized her love was gone, she took her own life. But Anna is not the only ghost here, if you care to take a look. The kitchen is haunted by the spirit of a long-dead head cook. The clanging of pots and pans can be heard when no one is there. You must earn her respect to work in the kitchen by proving that you care.
I don't know what was more frightening, the hotel or his voice. I think he might be able to give Vincent Price a run for his money, okay? Please. Clearly creepy. So now the number 4 place in Savannah is the Pirate's House. So let me share the screen so you all can see this because it looks a hot mess. This looks really creepy. Dark-skinned brother said, right, Queen, okay? So you all see that? That looks real creepy to me. I certainly wouldn't want to go in there, especially at night. So it says, it was once a saloon and rest stop for seafarers from abroad. Now, the Pirate's House still stands today as one of Savannah's most well-known restaurants. However, the Pirate's House can't escape its dark past. Many were brutally shanghaied down in the boarding house basement and forced to serve on the sea. There are many secrets to be discovered at this world-famous site, some that you're sure to learn about over dinner. And they also have a video for this, so let's see about it.
On Savannah's East Broad, very near where it bleeds into Bay, you'll find the Pirate's House, right where it was back in the day. Perched in the place where the trustees' garden once grew, the boarding house and bar hosted many a seafaring crew. Brigands and ruffians and the occasional scourge of the sea knew that this small tavern of infamy was the best place to be. And every sailor worth his salt would happily pay any sum to escape a liquor prohibition and drink a spot of rum. The Pirate's House was famously known to be a smuggler's den, with tunnels for smuggling gold and rum, and sometimes even men. With dangerous characters visiting and sailing in from distant coasts, there's hardly a question whether or not any of them became ghosts. If you find yourself at the Pirate's House on any given date, you may hear the ghost of a pirate captain calling for his first mate. "Bring aft the rum!" you may hear the ghostly captain cry. These could be the words spoken by pirates just before they die. Gather round at the old Pirate's House and spin a yarn or two, because in Savannah, the only thing missing from our ghost stories is you.
Let me tell you something. He sounds like he's the one who gives these tours when people go there to visit. Okay? Very dramatic. Now let's see what they have in store for number 5. And I'm going to share the screen again so you all can see this for yourself. Okay? Everyone please get the likes up. Likes up, like and share. Okay? 2 more. The 5th one is the Kehoe House. Now that looks like a nice house, but it still looks kind of spooky to me. Now the Kehoe family consisted of 10 children, and rumor has it that 2 of them died in the house. Although the rumor is completely unsubstantiated, many guests say they encountered ghost children during their overnight stays. Now, also before becoming a beautiful bed and breakfast, the Kehoe House was a funeral home. So is the Kehoe House haunted? Well, they dare you to spend the night there to see for yourself. I don't think I'm going to take them up on the offer, but there it is. So it was also a funeral home at the same time. So clearly, I'm sure it's haunted. You know, spirits leaving bodies and all of that, or, you know, anywhere you bring the dead before they're buried is likely to be haunted, as far as I'm concerned. And number 6, we have Moon River Brewing Company. Now, this beer house is considered by many to be the most haunted place in Savannah. Many guests have spotted a lady wearing white at the top of the restaurant staircase. Ghosts have also been known to throw bottles, to breeze by patrons, to play tricks on staff members. Guests of Moon River Brewing Company have nothing to worry about as long as they stay away from the basement and the upstairs, which are the 2 most active paranormal spots in the joints. Now, if you want to know more about it, there's a video for this as well. So let's check it out.
The Old City Hotel sat near Savannah's Whitaker and Bay. The Moon River Brewing Company can be found there today. Many theories and stories abound about this haunted hotspot, like the story of how the gambler James Stark was shot. Having insulted Dr. Minus with many a callous remark, the good doctor saw to it that a bullet would kill Stark. But Stark is hardly the lone ghost in the restaurant and bar. There are spirits throughout, drawing the curious from near and far. The upper floors are so haunted that renovations are never complete. Construction workers have found that working there is no easy feat. Perhaps these ghosts recall a time when a hospital was there, with so many sick and dying spirits clinging to the walls and hanging in the air. Whatever the cause, whatever the reason, the ghosts here are strong. And one thing is certain. The ghosts know that this is where they belong.
No, thank you. Terry says, I couldn't get a good night's sleep anywhere in Savannah. I don't think I could either, honey. Please. I don't think I could either. But hold on, there's more. Now, Savannah haunted places. They say, I have plenty of places with ghost stories to share with you. This is what the Ghost Walker says. Where are the hauntings of old Savannah, Georgia? They're all around us. Some are in the most unlikely places that you wouldn't even notice. That's why you need a dedicated and experienced ghost walker to lead you the way. Now, if somebody dropped a building on top of your grave, wouldn't you feel like letting someone inside of that building know that you were there? That's a good question, right? Residential hauntings is what we call those. And old Savannah has a lot of them. The hauntings of old Savannah will reach out to you. Many have visited haunted Savannah and felt something very strange while visiting these sites. Others have gotten pictures. Now it's your turn to come and visit for the experience, he says. Let me tell you something. My sister visited a haunted place in Louisiana, and I think I told you all this story. It was a house that was haunted by the spirit of an old woman who died. I think she froze to death one winter. So as they were leaving, my sister decided to take a snapshot of the house. When she returned home and looked at the picture again, there was a white figure on top of the roof. And she sent the picture to several people, right? And everyone saw it. But then days later, the white figure on top of the house, the translucent figure, it was gone from everybody else's picture. And she also said her and her husband went to bed that night and they heard the dogs barking in the middle of the night, and they woke up, went to see why the dogs were barking, and their living room door was wide open with no explanations. And then the next day when she called one of her friends who went on the trip with her and was also at the haunted house, they said the same thing. They woke up in the middle of the night and their front door was wide open. So that's what I call a hitchhiker ghost. It was either a hitchhiker ghost or, quite frankly, a demon, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? That was real crazy. So anyway, the Ghost Walker says if you come there, you can take tours. The tours make every effort to try and cover as much ground as possible during the 2-hour tour to help you visit as many of the hauntings of old Savannah, Georgia. Together, you walk through the oak tree-lined streets dripping with Spanish moss, and there's beautiful lighted squares at night where the spirits are most active. No, thank you, right? And then he says, one cannot help but feel the hauntings of old Savannah, Georgia all around as you pause in front of the old homes and experience the ambulance and night song the ambiance. I said ambulance. I don't have on my glasses, people. As you experience the ambiance and the night song in the air. It is a chilling experience to stand at the fence of the Colonial Park Cemetery and peer inside and reflect upon the more than 8,700 dead Savannah citizens lying in its 6 acres with only 651 markers for graves that are left standing. And then you can hear the story of why their graves now lay in oblivion. Only Ghost Walker tours bring the haunting of old Savannah, Georgia to life. I'm willing to bet that Ghost Walker, who's conducting these tours, is the same creepy voice that we heard on those videos. That's just my guess. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this broadcast. But before I do, don't forget, I'm going to be doing the story of Albert Hamilton Fish. So I'm going to give you a preview of Albert Hamilton Fish, right? I'm going to show you this 3-minute video that I did about him and Few people told me that it creeped them out, and that's why I'm doing the story on it, because people were asking me to tell the whole story about this freak. He was clearly crazy. Okay? So let me share my screen. You're welcome, Terry. Let me share my screen so you all can see this. And then I'm going to go ahead and close out so I can get ready for the next live, which is going to start at 8 o'clock. Okay? I'm going to post it. I haven't posted it yet, so give me a few minutes to post it before you start looking for it. Okay? This is the notorious and prolific serial killer known as Albert Hamilton Fish. And you most likely haven't heard of him. You see, he doesn't get much fanfare. When we tend to talk about serial killers, we think about Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, or Jeffrey Dahmer, just to name a few. But if you ask me, Albert Hamilton Fish was far worse than any of them. Now, he traveled around the United States for decades in the early 1900s, abducting, torturing, mutilating, murdering, and eating children. And the reason he was able to get away with this for so long without getting caught is because most of those children that he abducted were melanated. And when they came up missing, the police didn't go out looking for them. They didn't care. Just like all of the children that come up missing now in 2021, little melanated children, do they really go out looking for them? Do you see their names and faces on the news? I'm sure you don't. But anyway, I digress. So on June the 3rd of 1928, Albert Hamilton Fish went to the home of a white family. Their son, Edward Budd, had answered a response to a help wanted ad posted in the newspaper by Fish himself. And Fish went there under the pretext of giving this young man a job, but he really had a much more sinister plot in mind. You see, his plan was to take the young man off to the woods, murder him, cut him up into pieces, and eat him as well. But when he arrived at the residence and saw how big and strong Ed was, he soon realized that he wouldn't be able to subdue him. So he set his eyes on the young man's sister, Grace Budd, who was only 10. He asked the family if she could go with him to a party they were throwing for his 5-year-old niece. That was all a lie. The mother objected because they'd never met him before, and quite frankly, she didn't believe him or trust him. But the father, feeling guilty because of their circumstances and them not being able to afford nice things or take the children anywhere to have fun, suggested they let Grace go. That was a big mistake because she was never seen or heard from again. And then, after years of her disappearance remaining unsolved, on November the 11th of 1934, they received a letter in the mail detailing the ghastly things that happened. The killer wrote that he traveled to China years prior, and there was famine and people were eating the dead and even killing children to eat because they were defenseless. He then acquired a taste for human flesh, and so when he returned back to the States, that's what he began to do. He told them that he took Grace to a home in Wisteria, strangled her once she was inside, slashed her throat and drank her blood, then cut her up into pieces and baked her in a stew with potatoes, peas, onions, and carrots. Now, you don't hear about these things because, you see, many of the elites, they continue to do these things today. They drink the blood and eat these children. This is the... Okay? Pretty scary stuff. All right? And this man killed hundreds of children before he was caught. Like I said, many of the children he killed were black, but you don't hear about them. You only hear about little Grace Budd, the little white girl that he was captured for killing. Okay? So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to go ahead and set up that live and get it posted. And I should be able to start at 8 o'clock. All right? So I hope to see you all right black in the chats. Thank you for tuning in once again to Queen Amidai TV Presents Beyond the Realm. All right? And this next story, don't forget, it's going to be on true crime. Queen Amidai TV Presents True Crimes. Okay, so that's what you need to be looking for. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. Queen Amidai TV Presents True Crimes. All right, so I'll see you all in the next chats.